welcome to Leo season. Thanks for tuning in to the Embodied Astrology podcast. My name is Renee Sills. I'm a consulting astrologer and an embodiment educator. And I am taking some much needed time off this summer. So these horoscopes were recorded way back in Gemini season. Please let me know how they land for you in the comments. And just know that I do read my comments, and I'm always so grateful to hear how the current influences are affecting everyone differently. Astrology is vast and sun sign horoscopes are general, so remember that not everything will resonate for everyone and to take what works and leave the rest. I also want to remind you that horoscope astrology is most accurate for your rising sign. But, pro tip, there are 30 degrees in every sign, and if your rising degree is later than 25, I would recommend also listening or reading to the horoscopes for the signs that follow yours. If you have a different rising and sun sign, listen for your sun sign for information on your general energy. And you can also listen to your moon and Venus placements for more insight into the current state of your relationships. If you enjoy my readings, make sure to check out your 2025 year ahead expanded horoscope. Those readings are discounted by 25% now, but still have so much information that is very relevant to this year and to this season. You can find them linked in the show notes below. I also want to invite you to join me with my friend, colleague, and collaborator, Ramon Parrish, on the Leo New Moon, July 24th, for a special online event we're hosting based on Ramon's recently published book, Drama of the Planets. We'll learn about Ramon's process as an intuitive poet and practice tuning in with our natal charts, celestial muses, and planetary allies for inspiration in our own artistry and poetry. If you want to work with me personally, you can find me on Mondays in Somatic Space, a weekly online class where we practice embodying current astrology through gentle exploratory movement, meditation, and visualization. If this work benefits you and you want to help me keep giving these monthly readings for free, please consider signing up for a recurring monthly donation. If every one of our listeners gave $1 a month, we would cover all of our operating expenses and have funds freed up to offer you even more. Other great ways to support this work are to follow, subscribe, like, comment, sign up for our free newsletter, and send this work to your friends and networks. Links for everything are in the show notes, and you can also find everything I just talked about at embodiedastrology.com. All right, everybody, welcome to Leo season. Meow. Your horoscopes are coming up next. Hello, Virgo. Welcome to Leo season. You might know that Leo is the sign before yours, and whenever we are working with the energy that comes before yours, we are working with a lot of what is unseen, unknown, unconscious, and yet very deeply impactful. This is a place in the chart that is associated with all kinds of subliminal spaces, unconscious spaces, including your pre-birth experience, your dreams, your sleeping state, and where you might go when you go away from the status quo of your life. So if you go on retreat and go on a kind of solo contemplative journey somewhere, if you are hospitalized or incarcerated, if for some reason you are in a kind of far away place, that is the solar 12th house. That's where Leo is for Virgo. So in one way, we can think about this just as like what happens before your birthday. If you are a Virgo sun, then we are coming up on your birthday and your solar return. And for a lot of folks, that period of time is pretty contemplative, and there might be a quality of recognizing endings and being in this kind of liminal in-between space between 1 year and the next. So when we enter into Leo season in 2025, we're working with an additional emphasis of this kind of energy because Mercury is retrograde right now in Leo. Mercury stationed retrograde a couple of days before Leo season began on the 18th of July, and Mercury will station direct on August 11th. There's a new moon on July 24th in Leo. And about a week after that, an important conjunction of the Sun and Mercury in Leo. So the first 10 days, especially of Leo season, feel like a really deep time for Virgos. I feel that a lot of you are maybe in a kind of faraway place. You might be a lot in your imagination or your fantasy. It could feel like you're kind of, here but not here. Who knows where you are? Your thoughts could be everywhere. You could be dreaming about some kind of alternate reality. And some of you may be feeling really mentally kind of taxed right now, or you could feel taxed in the ways that your mind is being asked to work for the upkeep of the status quo of your life or something like that. Let's say that, you have a job that's just a job and you're supposed to focus on your job, but it's like, I'd rather be fantasizing about something. There's this kind of feeling of like, if you're being asked to pay attention to things that are not dreamy, not imaginative, not about some kind of possibility that it feels like you're holding on to right now, then you don't really want to think about it. And it might be hard to focus and you could feel really tired. So if you're feeling a bunch of fatigue, I will say that this period of time is definitely a time that is asking you for rest. It is asking you for time out. It's asking you for quietude, solitude, contemplation, and connection with the parts of you that are actually the most nourished from engaging with what is unseen and unknown. So that includes your dreams, but it also includes things like getting energy work or listening to music, right? Like going to a sound bath, having a kind of multi-dimensional experience that can like take you away a little bit from the here and the now of the logistics of your life. And prayer or contemplative practices, meditation of any kind are so helpful when there are transits through the 12th house, and your capacity to engage the possibilities of those practices also expands. So this is a very powerful time for you to have a meditation practice or for you to be talking to spirit because your energy is more open. So I'll start there and just say, please find some ways in Leo season to engage with the unseen realms, whatever that might mean for you, and engage in ways that are loving, that are creative, that open your heart. Any kind of art, any kind of poetry that is just about you expressing and trying to tune in with what is unseen, with feelings, with longings, with intuitions or something like that is a great way to do this. Working with divination, with tarot, with astrology, again, prayer, meditation, etc. also really, really great. So if you have those kinds of practices, let me know if Leo season feels like they get a boost. And if you don't yet have those kinds of practices, this would be an awesome time to start something like that and see what you are compelled towards. And there are so many different ways to tune in with the unseen realms. So good time for experimentation. This Mercury retrograde, I talked about it in your reading for Cancer season. I feel that a lot of you are remembering and reclaiming parts of yourself that you may have forgotten for quite a while. And it feels like you're coming back to your heart. You're coming back to your joy. There's something that you are becoming more conscious of that has to do with your happiness. And really, like when you feel your true self and your authentic self. And because we're working with a retrograde, and also right in the middle of this retrograde, around July 24th, I mentioned this already, this new moon. This is a new moon that definitely like carries some weight with it in terms of its aspects with the outer planets. I feel that some of you may really be feeling some significant grief or sadness. And if you are remembering parts of yourself that you feel like you haven't been in contact with for a while, there may be like necessary feelings that need to come up where you are mourning the loss of particular kinds of experiences or parts of yourself or timelines or something like that. it also feels like this could be a very inspiring and motivating time, even if there is grief involved, because I think that this kind of remembering is really motivating for you. And it feels like a liberating force. It feels like you are not so concerned with the ideas about like what you should be doing that might come through society or your mind or your conditioning or something like that. But you're more interested in what is actually yours to be doing and how are you really meant to be, right? Like think about, these different kinds of maps that I've been seeing a lot recently, like, what's it called? Deepa Iyer's roles. It's not like roles in the revolution but it's something like that, like these different kinds of archetypes of social change or something like that. Like there's the disruptors, there's the dreamers, there's the cooks, there's like, people who do different kinds of things. And I feel like you're having kind of a moment where you're recognizing that some of the ways that you have been in your life, you were doing that, you were being like that because that was the script. That was the path that you were supposed to follow. And maybe it was a script you wrote for yourself way back when, but it's not the script that you're reading anymore. You want to express yourself in some new and different ways. And this is a period of time, I think, that you're having a lot of impulses kind of coming through. They might not make sense right now. You might not know how to do it. You might not know why you want to do it, but these impulses are important. So really pay attention to what is occurring to you, especially between the 24th of July and the 1st of August. If you're a person who remembers your dreams, write down your dreams. You might even try, before you go to sleep at night, doing a little bit of a meditation with your dreaming self, imagining the part of you that voyages out into the dream realms, asking that dream self for the guidance that you need, or asking them a question, or asking them for an experience. Or if you're a person who prays before you go to sleep, maybe you pray to whoever you pray to, and ask for guidance to come through in your dreams. But I feel like this is a really intuitive period of time for you, and that you're getting some big downloads, and that what your life is wanting you to do right now is to trust the unknown. And the impulses that are coming through for you have a deep quality of unknown to them. They might feel like you're like, where did this part of me come from? I'm not like this. I've never known myself to be like this. You might be wanting to take risks that, even a year or two ago, you would have felt like they were too risky. But there's something about this particular quality of time that is really asking you to open up to the unknown and be available for a new experience. Now, some of you, this is something that you're experiencing very explicitly in more like outer life events. And so you might be, thinking about quitting your job and going to do something different. You might be thinking about like gender reassignment surgery. You might be thinking about tattooing your face. Like, I don't know, some of you are thinking about things that are very external and they're about actions. And some of you are in a much deeper kind of process right now that's not so much about the external as it is about what's happening in your psyche and in your spirit. And so this is going to be, of course, different for everybody. It is totally impossible to speak to all the different timelines that can occur to me in these readings. But I think some folks out there are, you're really contemplating death and mortality. You might be in circumstances in your own life or with your relationships, or certainly with the world right now, where you are just feeling the precarity of life and you are aware of limited time. And in that consciousness, something is opening for you in the space between, and the veils might be feeling really thin. And you might be connecting with parts of your soul or your spirit or your ancestors, guides, guardians, ghosts, I don't know. And And there's a shift that's happening for you psychologically and energetically that is really deeply changing you and changing how you want to be in the world. Okay, so make the meaning that's meaningful for you, but I really deeply feel that a lot of Virgos are getting impulses that seem to come out of nowhere. It's like they come out of the realms of spirit. They come out of your deep unconscious, and they are moving you in a new direction. And my feeling intuitively, and then looking at your chart, is you want to trust this. This new direction is opening up for you for a reason. And I think that it could feel risky. It could feel scary. There could actually be a lot of detangling that you need to do. And some of that may not be worth the risk, right? Like, is the juice worth the squeeze? I don't know. Only you can decide that. But I do feel that a lot of you, like the feeling in my body right now is like, if you don't do it now, when are you going to do it? So make the meaning that's meaningful for you. But you do have a lot of support, okay? And I can see that coming in for you as we get into August. And Mercury stations direct on August 11th. There's a full moon on August 9th that feels like it is bringing a fair amount of focus to the parts of your life that have to do with resource management, time management, how you handle all the details of things. This is a full moon that feels pretty practical in some ways, but it's like practical in like imaginatively practical, because I think a lot of you are trying to figure out how to do a new thing. You want to change your life. And you're thinking about the logistics of it. And that's what this full moon is helping you orient towards. But as Mercury stations direct, there's a feeling of energy opening up and a kind of boost or boon for you. It's like you get filled with optimism. You see the potential of something. Maybe you have friends or allies or just support coming in for you in some way that help you feel bolstered in whatever it is that you are trying to do. A lot of you have been working really deeply with your psyche and more kind of like subconscious, unconscious stuff. You're clearing a lot of your own baggage. You are like making space for something to happen. The retrograde has been doing its work, and you have something that is making you feel kind of buoyant right now. And that is not a mistake, Virgo. You're really feeling something, and whatever it is that you are feeling, this kind of realm of possibility, this hope for the future, the sense of maybe if I have faith and if I have optimism, I can do that. That is the direction to go right now. That is the way to take this. Now, I will also say that I know how devoted Virgo is, and many Virgos are just very concerned with making the world a better place and doing a great job at it. And I think that a lot of you have a lot to give right now, and some of you are in high demand. It's really important that you follow your heart. And in the ways that you are giving, give what you are good at giving. Sometimes you're going to have to just show up for the work. It's not always going to feel like bliss, but there's something in your chart right now. And I just feel like a broken record because I've been saying this for the last, however many readings. It's like you have got to follow your heart. That is the direction that is not going to lead you astray. That's the direction that moves you towards your own growth. Okay? Okay. So what is the embodiment practice that we want to work with to help you follow your heart, Virgo? I feel like some of you want to recognize fear in a different way. Because I think that the thing that is holding back a lot of you is fear. And it's like fear of making a mistake, fear of getting stuck somewhere, fear of misusing your resources, fear of being taken advantage of, fear of what happens if you let someone down, fear of your own mortality, like so many different ways that you might be fearful right now. So Virgo, I want to ask you to tune in, if this is resonating for you, to tune in with one of those fears and allow it to surface in your consciousness. And maybe you want to speak it to yourself, or you want to kind of clarify, like, what is the guiding message of this fear? What is the core belief of this fear? Tuning in with that fear. Feel it in your body. Notice what your body does with this fear. What is the shape that your body takes? How do you breathe? What does it feel like in your head, in your belly, in your legs? Okay, Virgo, I'm going to ask you a tough question. When is the first time, the earliest time that you can remember feeling this way? This particular quality of fear. And it doesn't have to be when is the first time you were scared of this particular thing. The focal points of our fears can change. But when is the first time that you remember feeling this way? This particular type of fear with this particular type of shape. What other memories and associations does it bring up? Now, if any memories are surfacing that are old, that are from your childhood, especially if any memories are surfacing of ancestors or other people in your family that may have felt this kind of fear as well, that's really important information. Because now we know that the fear that is presenting for you right now is a fear that is really deep. And it is a fear that might not be entirely grounded in the circumstances of the present. Now, the next thing that I'm going to ask you is, who or what does this fear serve? What is this fear in service to? Who or what benefits from you feeling afraid this way? Take some time with it, Virgo. Okay. Once you have been with those questions for a little bit, then the invitation is to ask maybe the part of yourself that is the youngest memory of who has ever felt this fear. Ask that part of yourself, do they still want you to feel afraid? The earliest memory that you have of feeling like this, imagine that you could talk to you then. Tell them who you are now. Do you at that age still want you now to feel afraid? Okay, Virgo, if the answer is no, that is a clear answer. If the answer is yes, or you're unsure, maybe spend some time with this part of your psyche, yourself, your inner child, and ask the second question again. So what is the benefit of this fear? And there may be really good reasons for you to have this fear. This could be a protective fear. This could be a fear that has some discernment and wisdom inside of it. If that's what's coming forward, then the next line of inquiry would have to do with, are there ways that you can be protective of what needs to be protected and let the fear go? Are there ways that you can be discerning in the ways that you need to be discerning and let the fear go? Finally, I'm going to invite you to really love the part of yourself that is afraid. Send love, comfort, witnessing to the parts of you that are afraid. And notice just what that does. No need to change them. No need to get them to do anything. All we're doing is getting closer, asking questions, asking about the intention, who's it serving, sending love. Now, if you got any kind of information about who is this fear serving and realized like, oh, this fear is serving my oppressor, right? Like this fear is serving the part of me that is, trying to self-sabotage or something like that, then that is also really important information, Virgo. And there's plenty to unpack there. And this is probably a great place for me to stop and say, take it to your really smart friend who's in school to be a therapist and see if they'll process it with you or something like that. But these kinds of questions I feel like could be really fruitful for you throughout Leo season. We are working with a retrograde in a place that is very unconscious for you. Leo energy has strong correlations to our childhood experience. The parts of your chart that are getting activated right now have strong correlations to pre-verbal experiences, right? Like even infant and pre-birth experiences, ancestral experiences, inheritances of trauma, etc. And I have a sense that a lot of you might be experiencing some tension between the way that you in your evolution and health and current moment of manifestation really want to grow, and the parts of you that are carrying some things that just haven't been resolved yet, don't know that they can grow. And I think that there might be some important conversations that you can have with yourself, with your spirit, with your inner child, with your ancestors that can help you clarify what you need to be careful of, what needs to be protected, what needs to be minded, and also how you can put some of those fears down and embrace the opportunity that your life is asking you to embrace. Always make the meaning that's meaningful for you, Virgo. I really hope that any or all of that feels helpful and supportive. I'm wishing you all the best in Leo season and beyond.